Hi guys, it is nice to be with you again today. Every time we're talking about a birthday cake, either we do one or we receive an order from customer or we order ourselves to somebody else. We think about first thing, how can we make this cake so personalized that the person will feel special about himself or herself. So then we think about the person's activities, hobbies, occupation, or if you know the person quite close, maybe that person mention about his or her dreams, so we can think about what is the really idea that we can do about his or her dreams. So, but there is one idea. There's one idea that no other cake or no other idea can be more personalized than that. It's the person's name cake. So that's what we're going to do today. It sounds very simple. First, you can just take a rectangular cake and you can just cut some letters out of fondant and place it on the cake, maybe different colors. Or you can just cut individual letters, then deal as each letter one cake, and then do them finish and then place them side by side on the right size of a board. That's all good. We can do that. But in this tutorial, I'm going to make something a little bit different. I'm going to make a name look like a graffiti art. So it is also sounds very simple, but we still have to follow up a couple of rules and regulations that we don't make our life difficult when we're doing it. So I'm going to show you today this one. Let's say if somebody ordered a birthday cake to me, and then that's what I would do. I'm going to show you now, and then after that I'm going to show you how can we make this one systematically. My good friend Bill has a birthday this weekend, so I'm going to make this cake for him. Sometimes we call him Billy, so I'm going to make a cake, the combination of letters B-I-L-L-Y, and then combine them into the graffiti art looking style, and then make a cake for him. But I'd like to show you first, if I don't make a tutorial, what I would do. So I'm just going to get a pencil and then write some bold letters, let's say like that, and then I make sure that when I put the next letter, so the corners of the letters are visible, and then this gap here is quite big enough so I can get in there with the icing. Then maybe look like this. Next letter. Maybe look like this. And then also maybe the Y is look like this. So that will be then like approximately the style of it. Let's put the marker on it so we can see better. If I have my pencil lines, it's very easy to follow. I know the position of the letters. I can just follow this one. And then next letter is Y. And I have a gap over here, so I will not maybe bother to do how to do this. I'm going to fill up this one with chocolate. All right. And then maybe this one also chocolate fill up, so create sort of dark shade. Okay, then I'm going to cut this the letters just maybe a little bit outside or just around the frame, doesn't matter. And do this cake in this shape. Maybe this is too much. I have to cut somewhere more inside. Okay. Now, can I just say, here we go guys, this is how you do it. I don't think this will be a good idea as a tutorial because some of you, I'm sure you can follow up, but maybe there is also some of you cannot. So I have to come up with a kind of system that everybody can follow. So therefore, what I did, I write each letter by hand myself and then give you that information in the printable section underneath this video. So you can print each letter as a A4 size, but the letters inside is A5 size. So I did that for Billy and also for you. So how I did that is looks like this. I take a A5 size, it is half of the A4, and place it underneath the letter, underneath this paper, and then I just use my pencil. I just all those letters. I make sure that it stays in the A5's height, but the width is some of the letters will be a bit wider, like for example W, and then some of them, of course, narrowish. So this is what I did. This is B and I, and 2 times L and 1 Y. What I also did, I calculate approximately about 100 gram cake each, and then how many portions we can get from each letter. So B is end up 9 portion, L is end up 6 portion, Y is end up 6 portion, and 4 is end up 4 portion. So altogether, if you calculate it, this is a 5 liter we're talking about here, and each letter is altogether 31 portion. Each letter get about 5 portion average. I think we're going to give you some sort of like either a chart or tool that you can just put in all those letters. Then you can come out with the result of, if I have so many number of letters and if I have so many portion to do, how many percent I have to print those letters, that I can come out with the approximately adequate size that is enough for that number of people. So let's put this the system together and then see how does it work. Okay, I have this, let's say, as I said, 5 letters we have here. Each letter average 5 portion is, we're looking at 5 times 5 is 25 portion. Okay, this is the B. I'm going to put underneath. So when I place in this one here, I like to have enough gap here so I can go with the icing. That's for sure. And then also like placing over here nicely, that is like not like this, not like this, and sort of like very relaxing. You can still visible all the letters. Then L, I like to put over here, but it's not going to be right. So I'm going to put underneath, but so much that I can still see the L here and not hiding behind. Also looks like this. I have enough space over here, enough space over here. Then it's the L, another L is here. If I put like this, I have just a little gap over here. It's not going to be right. So I'm going to make it look like this, and then also I'm going to put this one somewhere here. Maybe this is too much gap to going inside, so I'm going to go a little bit underneath like this here, and then turn everything about this way like this. So that's my Billy cake look like. So how I do that? This is my positioning. So I take a sticky tape, quite a big one, and lock this up. So positioning already locked, cannot change anymore. Finish. All right. Then I take the next transparent, semi-transparent paper, place it over here. All right. Then I go around. So far so good. This will be my cake look like. So far we talk about all those planning and designing and everything. So let's bring now all the materials, tools and recipes and ingredients. So what we need to make this cake. Okay, these are the tools, material, recipes, ingredients, everything together on the table. What we need to make this cake. We are not going to do any kind of pastelage parts. That's why we have less numbers on the table. That's why I put all the food and non-food together. So start from the board. 9mm wood, covered with velvet, and also protected with cellophane sheet. Between the cellophane sheet and velvet, there is a double-sided tape, which secures the cellophane sheet. After removing the sides, the cake will not going to be move around. So As you see over here, this is 1, 2, 3 sticky tape, double-sided tape in between the cellophane sheet and velvet. That secures the cellophane sheet, but I place it on the right place. So I just look at the profile of the writing and then place it on the right place. If I put on the straight like that, what will happen if I remove that cellophane sheet? You will see some residue of the double-sided tape. It's going to look ugly. Okay, now how big is the board? I really don't know, because you're not going to make the Billy. You're going to make maybe something like a Christopher, or you're going to make maybe some Mary or Bill or Anne or whatever. So you are not decide before to finish the template. That's why you have to finish template first, and after that you measure. Just keep relaxing like 2-3 fingers on the side and decide how big you're going to cut the board. So this is 60 by 30 according to this shape. That's not a problem. I have 2 templates here. One is for the cake, as you see here. It's just without knowing that what's going on in between. Another one is still the first placing together. I put some more stick tape around and secure really nicely, because I'm going to use this one still, cutting again from these areas to make the cake 3-dimensional. Normally writings are 2-dimensional because the height is the same. We have a depth and the width, so it's only 2-dimensional cake, we call that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some letters in between, so I'm going to get the layers in different levels, so it will create from 2 to upgrade to 3-dimension, the writing. So continue with the non-food items. I have a rolling pin, quite light, and I have a marker roller pin here. I'm going to use this one for the sides. And I have the master cake, so I have a masking tools, that palette knives in different sizes and different shapes. I have a pen knife. It's very important that I'm going to cut the fondant on the cake when the right place. And I have a scissor. I have a fondant pusher. I need it for, very important, this one, not only for the pushing the sides, also I'm going to do something on top of the cake. 2 towels. I will never start anything without these 2, wet and dry. So, and I have sticky tape, but I don't think I will use a lot more because I already secured that. Knives in the hot water blade part sink inside the hot water. I'm going to use one at a time. I'm going to use one for a while. I'm going to change it while this one resting and releasing all the residue of the cake. Another one, I'm going to use it and then just exchange it. And small knife also for carving small parts. One little container there to put the offcuts of the cake, because I like to maintain my order on the table. And I have a cord. The cord will be frame the cake around. Normally flat ribbons will be quite difficult to use because the corners are quite deep, so you don't know exactly where to fold the ribbon. And also, like it looks like first it's sticking, but it just comes out later on. So you have to use something excessive amount like chocolate and icing or something, and then sometimes the ribbon also get damaged and you can see the stain from underneath comes out. That's why I'm going to use a cord, which is very flexible. I'm going to just go around the cake nicely. Only internal corners here. I'm going to touch dot of chocolate and secure that, and then I'm going to use that liquid air to cool that chocolate immediately, so I don't have to hold it and wait it too long. Then I have an oil spray. You know, this is also for using for gluing the fondant, because I'm going to layer the fondant, so this oil will secure the fondant in place, doesn't move around anymore. And when it comes to the food items, I have a ganache in glass bowl, because I like to put sometimes in the microwave to make it soft again. Then I have fondant here. So you see over here, there's little dots here, because I mixed that color yesterday. So every time I use colors, especially I use powder colors. So if you use the gel colors, it's not a problem. But if you use powder colors, which I use to make the deep colors, because I don't want to use too much water inside the fondant. So it's always, after sometimes the little dots appears. It doesn't appear immediately. If you mix the powder colors in the fondant and try to make immediately something, you will be regret, because the dots comes out and then it will be sort of really look bad. So that's why I mixed it yesterday. Today I'm going to mix them again. That's why I want to show you that before I mix it again. So that's not a problem at all. Okay, dark blue on the side, lighter blue on the top, and after that orange color on top. Why orange? I will also explain you later. The cake. The cake is, I just grabbed it from my fridge, 28 by 28. If I put on the scale, 2.2 kilo. Normally if I bake something like this, I will use about 1 kilo mud cake 2 times in 2 sheets and glue it together into 5 centimeter height. And in between I'm going to use some ganache, depends on how high is the cake. So, but normally when you bake a 1 kilo mud cake, you will lose about 10%. So I guess this is over here is about 1.8 kilo mud cake, 2 times 900, and then probably about 400 gram or 500 gram of ganache in between. That is already good enough. I don't know how much mud cake I need because I never cut the cake yet. So I just guess that this is big enough to hold it everything. What else? That's all. If I miss something, I will add it into the material section. Please check the list. I'm going to start shaping my name cake now. At this stage, all what I'm interested to get this cake in the shape, that's all. So all the carvings and everything else I will do, masking everything later on. So let's remove that baking paper from this cake. Beautifully nice and moist cake. There's another one underneath. Mud cake is actually the perfect choice for this kind of work, carving and three-dimensional everything. So I like to remove this one also from this board and put it here. All right. I'm going to make this cutting as good as possible and try to get no leftovers or less leftovers as possible at the end. Okay, I think not to fiddle with this area, I'm going to cut only this, and after that later on join other things after that. Let me see how it's good. I think this is good, just for a momental choice, it's okay. So dip your knife, small knife, into hot water, just drip out the excess water and go straight and cut. Put this here. You repeat that dipping as often as possible. Okay. Alright, so far BI and half of the L is finished. So positioning was like that, like this. Yes. Okay, now I just keep this template on the cake and then continue to join the cake in a somehow try to get the rest of it. Okay, don't want to do that. Maybe this. Yes. So at this stage, I'm going to use just a little bit of ganache to glue things around. Okay. It looks like we have a cake just enough, or maybe a little bit missing, but I have about a few hundred kilo of mud cake in my fridge, so I can just go and get some more, doesn't matter. All right. So I go just slowly and securely, that every single letter is done properly on the right spot. I want to cut this straight. All right. So far we are till there. The Y is missing. I think if I go like this, it will be quite smart thing to do. Just get this, cover this corner, and after that we can join all bits and pieces the other part. I'm gonna get this one straight out. And this one here. This is better. Something missing here. It's just a matter of puzzling the cake bits to that shape, so you don't have any offcuts too much. We're doing quite well because only this piece left, and then we have everything enough. What we have here, a little bit that, a little bit that. Okay, let's go. here. That's it. The belly is already cut and we have only this much leftovers, which is pretty good. So I like to do now some cleaning before we go into the masking and carving and all the rest of it. My table is clean and the cake is in the fridge. So next thing to do is carving the cake. As you see that all those letters is actually located on top of each other. So let me just give you a kind of drawing that you understand what I like to do. So let's say the cake is looking from the sideway, it looks like this. For instance, that's the B and the I and the L and the Y here. All right. So if I have to carve the cake, so like just a layering, so the cake will be end up look like this. So that doesn't make sense at all. So that shouldn't be this way carving down. And if we have to make another option, let's say L is in the middle and the I and the B higher and L and the Y lower, then will be then look like this. Let's say again, this is the B and I and L and L and Y. So this will be the center height. Then the cake will be look like this. That's not a bad idea, but still it's not really optimum because the cake in one side is extremely high and other side is extremely low. So I like to do something else. Let's say the cake again look like this. So that's not an option also. The B and the I and the L and the L and the Y. So I like to take I is the untouched optimum height. Then I will increase the B from the halfway through high like this. So maybe I just cut from here a little bit, edit inside here a little bit, either on the from left to right edit on. So after that again I will do the same thing over here, carve from the center of the L and edit on the other side, and this one again like that, and this one probably keep it straight. So that kind of arrangement will give me that illusion that every letter is standing on top of each other. So let's bring the cake here and then start doing what we're talking about. As you see, I have two templates for the same shape. The reason why I keep this one, after I cut the cake exact the same shape of the main shape, then I losing the lines that where it is ending, where is this starting, especially on the areas that letters are overlapping each other. So I cut also each letter from the joining part exact. So that gives me exact guidance where do I have to make the cake layering. So as I said, we don't need this anymore. Take this one off. And one is my center height. So it's just this one here. All right. So what I like to do now, I'm going to start carving the cake. This one comes slightly down. And is it deep enough? I don't think so. I just want to make a little bit more. Okay. Then the second one, See here? Okay. Now, as you see, the L is coming just like this way. I want to make this one a little bit higher. Take your time, slowly. That looks good. Not perfect yet, but we're gonna mask anyway. Gonna make it nice and level. All right, let's go to next L. Like this. Use bigger knife this time. Okay. Now again, the L needs a little bit of lift here. A little bit more. There's enough sponge over here to get this one done properly. Okay, that's good. So what's missing here? So L is correct, this L is correct, Y is correct, and then B has to lift up a little bit in that area. So what I like to do, I'm going to get this one here, and first of all, just level this one up like that. See all those bits and pieces enough? A little bit more ganache. Okay, they are not enough. I'm going to use a little bit of older offcuts. That's it. Should be enough. you can actually mix this one into a paste and then do also the same thing. So that should be already good. So this cake is quite warm now. So it was already for a couple of minutes here, and then there's a lot of light, so it's quite a warm environment. I put back in the fridge, cool it down a little bit, and continue more comfortably. Okay, the cake is nice and cold now. There's a lot of crumbs lying around, so I just use this scraper and push those crumbs into the cake. Okay, that is good enough at the moment. So we don't have to do this one here. Keep this one here, take it out. Right. At this stage, it's a good idea to place this cake on the turntable because you like to maintain your comfortable body position instead of going too much turning around the cake. So just turn the cake according to your comfortable body position will be a better idea. So I like to do first, as you see that I put a little bit of ganache here to stick all those crumbs. I will continue to make only the top surface first and then concentrate on letters one by one. And then when you're doing that, you try to create that level that you just cut with the knife. Maybe there is some areas are not really level. Always a little bit at a time. And then use a small palette knife. Once you put a soft ganache on the surface, the ganache getting harder and harder because the cake is cold, they will be comfortable at each time. Okay. We can always go back to the same letter, make it a little bit better. This is my first crumb coat. After this one finish, I will probably put some cling wrap on it, push this one down nicely, and after that put in the fridge, and we're gonna do this one more time. At this stage, I don't worry about these two holes of the B. I'm going to create this one later on. Okay, let's go on the side first. My most comfortable body position is this, so I'm going to just do that. It's getting easier and easier. It looks like complicated shape to mask, but if you concentrate always in small areas and then make sure that you're not going further before you are really satisfied with that location what you're working on at that time, they will be okay. You realize that I'm not worried about turning the cream in this way. I will do this one next. Okay, now what I like to do, I'm going to take my scraper now and then just go slowly around of it, just nicely. Wherever I can. Okay, we turn around and end up on the corner of the B now. I'm quite happy with this one now. Now I'm going to use my bended small little palette knife and then go slowly take it out these extensions on the top, smear to the surface. Slowly, step by step, area by area. I'm pretty happy with this one now. So I mentioned that I'm going to use cling wrap to coat this one. I'm not going to do that because the corners are quite soft still. I don't want to really push them down in the round shape. I want to keep the corners square. I will put this in the fridge for a while, let the corners harden a little bit. Then I'm going to use cling wrap and push it again as a surface wise, not the corner wise. I'm sure you have understood now, time to time, put the cake in the fridge for a while. It's very useful thing because that the coldness of the cake, it will maintain the shape at the same time. So the corners get nice and cold and still firm enough that I can apply a little bit pressure with the cling wrap. So what I do, I just take a cling wrap and then just relaxing only just at one letter at a time. So once I glue this one, I go inside here like that, and then just concentrate on one letter first, and then go again, push it inside here, in this gap here, and then one more time. And then after that, go again, relax, push it back. So I'm not stretching the cling wrap too much, otherwise I will damage the corners. Then again, push it in, and once all the letters are all covered, then I put the cling wrap on the base, and then after that I cut. So for me, it's like making the sides is a second degree. First of all, the top and the corners are important. The sides I can always manage with my palette knife. Okay, that's already good enough. So then what I do, I just go here and I push it down a little bit. So make sure that everything surface is nice and good, like this. You can skip that step, but it helps a lot. You know, I'm sure you will realize that, for example, that edge here is not really straight. So once I push my cling wrap like that, it's all become nice and straight after that. Especially I will put this in the fridge again, and then once I remove the cling wrap, it will be all comes out nice and straight. It's not smooth, but straight, so it will help me to make the next step correctly, which is the second coat of the ganache. Okay, that's already good enough. I'll place this one again in the fridge and then maybe leave it for another 15 minutes and I come back. Back to work. I'll just remove that cling wrap again. And we're gonna repeat the masking actions what we did just now. Exactly the same thing again, starting from the side very nicely, slowly, and after that we're gonna start from the top and then the side, and then after that we scrape and then do the rest of it. So let's do that one now. My ganache is really good now, beautifully, not too soft, not too hard. So starting from the B, try not to get ganache on the surface. I use that, you know that every palette knife has a bit of bend, so I use that this way on the surface. That's much better. I'm saying every palette knife, maybe not the new ones, but once the palette knife is being used, it's bent to one side somehow. That's good enough. Next one. Now the ganache will work much better because surface is almost perfect, straight, and also cold. So whatever we apply on it, it becomes nice and firm. Concentrate on the areas that has to be straight. See, like a little bit of indent here is like a go down, so I fill up with the ganache on this spot. Okay, surface is done, so I'm going to go now the sides. One area at a time. Okay, because of the surface is already too cold, if I continue till the end of it, this ganache will be too hard. It will give me a hard time to scrape, to use the scraper. So I'm going to do it now. Very nice. Okay, now this one. Okay, B is like in very much of satisfactory level. It's nice and straight. So I'm going to continue with I. Again, one area at a time. Okay, finish. Let's use the scraper now. Only this eye, nothing else to worry about. That's good. I think I can do 2L at the same time now. Scrape this nice and straight. Done. 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 Nice. Good. Okay, scraper again. Okay, I think it's not bad. Everything is straight. So if we put this in the fridge nice and cold, I can still touch up a little bit. At very last, just a few little spots, I can do it. So I'm sure some of you asking now, what about these two hole on the B? So let's do this one also. This is nice and cold now. I just place this one over here. As you see that the letters get a little bit bigger, but it doesn't matter at all. Yeah. So just go like, just marking here like this. Okay, I'm gonna do this one like slightly larger. Just dip it in and then go with the knife about 1.5 to 2 centimeters down. And then also like just go this way and remove one part here, and then go this way, remove the other part, and then also do this one, same, remove this part, and this one. So that's already good. And then put your fingers in there, just push it down a little bit without disturbing the corners. So we don't have to put anything like inside a ganache or something, it doesn't matter. So it will be just nice. If I put a little bit of chocolate inside later on, it will be just perfectly right, because I don't want to go all the way down with the fondant. It's not going to make sense. Alright, so the cake is now ready for chilling down a little bit, and then after that we're going to start nice and clean with the fondant work. Let's start rolling the fondant. I just took my cake out from the fridge. It's nice and dry and cold on top, but till I finish my fondant rolling, it will take some time. So I'm sure there will be enough moisture will appear on the surface. There will be enough to stick my fondant on the surface, so I don't have to use any other additional jam or syrup or something to glue the fondant on the surface. So put this on the side and then think about what we're going to do. So I can take actually fondant, one piece, roll as bigger than the cake, and then put it on top and try to push every corner inside to get this, cover all those gaps and everything. They will be literally impossible, because that fondant, it's not that stretchy to go so much in gaps and then without any kind of tearing. So that's why I decided to make this cake in 3 different coating, sides first, and they're nice and comfortable, and then the top after, and then I will also put a highlight color in the middle as a kind of like a center part. So because we want to use that layering to make this cake look like a graffiti art. So graffiti art is a very colorful thing. So 3 times covering will give me also opportunity to have these 3 different colors to like this graffiti art. So let's start from the side. I have a darker blue, and then I will use also lighter blue on the top. I use the same blue. I mix this fondant first, and I create my lighter color fondant from this fondant itself, because I just add the white color inside, and to make it lighter color, then I have a tone that exactly the same characteristic. So I want to make a smaller piece just for a start, this much. As I mentioned before, that blue spots completely disappeared because I give a knead to this fondant next day, today. Yesterday I mixed my colors, so it was a spotty on top. Now it's not anymore. Okay. So this comfortable amount of fondant I rolled to start doing the sides. I like to give a pressure on it for my rolling. Therefore, I like to put some more starch underneath. So when I pressurize with this lining, the fondant doesn't stick on table. So just go for once, like that. Good. Okay, didn't stick. Perfect. Tied it up a little bit. Okay. If I measure the cake from side, the highest corner will be around 8 centimeter. I'm gonna turn the top a little bit, so I'll go for a 9 centimeter parts, so I can make 2 lines with it. Okay, this one maybe I need for some other parts, so let's put this one to this side and bring the cake in the middle. All right. Let's get all the leftovers inside here, so it doesn't get dry. Make some space. Alright. As you see here, I'm just rolling that one just like this. Just like this. And starting from this corner. And just go around. Making lines is a good idea because it turns much more easier, and also it gives me possibilities when I join the fondant in some areas. You will not see much of this joining part. Okay, let's enhance this, whatever I did till now. Just push a little bit, but don't kill the lines. Okay. Now I like to keep it. I like to do this one now before I continue, because if you do it later on, it may be too dry. So I just cut this one just about a centimeter high. There's it, just about a centimeter higher than the cake. Alright, and then just simply turn over the cake. So I'm going to give a little bit more push on the top to make it a little bit more level, but I'm not going to push so much that the cake will be collapse. Just nice and carefully. That's good. So let's continue now. I have this area here on top. This is not going all the way down, but I have a piece of fondant here. It will be just nice. I just roll also this one. Like that. And then continue from this area. And then I know that I'm going to put a larger one on this area, so I'm just going to cut this one over here, this much. Okay. And the height is almost there. Don't cut too long, because if you cut too long, like I did over here, it will be more difficult to get the same level with the ganache. Just take your time to do that. If you have a little bit of like tearing off over here, it doesn't matter at all because other fondant coming on top. Just fix that corner. Okay, that's it. All right, continue this area. We have this high one also again. Yeah. Just like this. If this fondant open like that, I just rolling from here, like this, and then I'm holding a bit more heavier thing so I can easily hold. Then go inside here. This area. So this one can stand here easily. Around. Cut exactly from the corner here. Very good. So when I push this area with this stick, as you see, I can create that extra lines. It doesn't really appears to be joined here. That's it. The bee is actually ready for coating next level on top. Make sure that there's this fondant, the excess fondant on top, as good as possible, layered with the leveled with the ganache on top, so that it's not going to be any indentation when we put the next one on top. So, and also, like if you use this one again on the side, make sure it's clean. So that's the way how I'm going to do the sides all the way around the cake. So I will stop now shooting and then go back to you when I finish everything. My first coating, making the walls are finished. As you see, that is like just like a straight lines, which has helped me to bend easily whatsoever. I continue like I did the B, exactly same way, all the letters. And the top side end up a little bit messy, but it doesn't matter at all because all the messiness is on the surface, not on the side. So we're going to cover the surface with the next coating anyway. So maybe just a bit of like a starch dust on the side, so you can use some brush and then clean up nicely, and then just that dots, get rid of these little white spots. That's fine. Another thing is that you have to be careful. Don't roll the fondant too big piece and try to attend to get everything all in once. You just make a part by part, small pieces. The fondant stays flexible. So if you make it too big while you're doing one corner, the rest of the fondant dries on the table. It will create some problems on this corner. So when you're bending, it will crack easily. So let's get the top coating first. So I'm going to roll my next fondant, which is a lighter color. Bigger than this cake, all in once, and put it on and stick it with the oil spray, not with water or something else, because I want to cut the corners and then remove that excess very easily. The center part of the cake, which is the ganache part, it will be good enough to stick everything in place, doesn't move at all. Just a little bit of oil on the side. That's it. So put this on the side and then let's get rolling. Clean table. As you see, no more spots on the fondant because I knead it again. When I turn in the the upper sides of the wall towards the top of the cake. So it appears to be a different level, but I push them all with the hand and also with the fondant pusher. It seems to be okay, but if it's not exactly in the same level with the ganache, I will push this again while this top fondant on it. Then will be more level. Make sure it's cake not standing on room temperature at this stage too long, because we're going to apply some pushes on the cake, so it has to be quite firm and cold underneath. Air bubbles has to be removed right on the spot. I have to get 30 by 60. Now roll this one on that stick and don't rest too long, otherwise we'll stick together. And just start from the B like this, and then don't stretch it, just relaxly pushing underneath again. So just place that fondant into the gaps, push them into the gaps, not really go one straight. Okay. And then go slowly to the lower parts. So you can see or the corner of the letters, so we know where we're going to cut the fondant. At this stage, make sure that fondant going into the gaps. Okay, I like to apply a little bit of oil. Okay, let's give a little bit more push with this, but try not to tear the corners. Okay, I like to start now cutting. Take your time, slowly. I'm going to cut, if the corners is like that, and then I'm going to cut just right here, not on the corner exactly, just a little bit inside. Try to make this cut with one movement, so you have to dip that pen knife as much as you can, touch the next fondant level down, but not too much to cutting everything out. Okay. Always clean. Okay, there's a gap over here, so I have to start from this part. Okay, let's remove that excess one. See everything is perfectly cut or not. Okay. Need a little bit pushes left and right, but will be everything okay. Alright, this one. There's a bit of shortfall here. I have to cut this one again. If we see some unwanted areas, we can always cover it again. Okay. Let's get some operation here now. This one, starting from this corner, that's good. Touch the corner, make it level, push this one inwards this area. See, I'm pushing with the pusher towards to the gap, covering that gaps. This is good. This area a little bit too short, but I can still push it in a little bit like this. This is not a big deal because the other contrast color comes in the middle. Everything is fine. our next coating is finished. So all what I have to do now, I have to remove this part, and place some dark color in the middle as a frame before I fill with the chocolate. So let's do that one first. Actually what I do is just push this one in and then fill this area with chocolate without to worry. That's it. Okay, second coating is done. We're gonna do the next one, the contrast color in the middle. I'm going to add one more color to the cake. The center line is a very striking color. So if we're talking about like achieving that graffiti look like colors, so we're talking about very strong colors, so contrast colors to each other. So if you think about black appears on the white colors most contrast way, or the white appears on the black in the same way, but what about the colors? So which color will appear on top of the other color? It really strikes very strongly. So to find out this is very simple chart that we have to look at it. We know the primary colors is red and blue and yellow. So this is the circle of the primary colors, red, blue and yellow. So anything in between is the secondary colors, which is the red and yellow makes it orange, and then the red and blue makes it purple, and then blue and yellow makes it green. Okay, so I have here the blue color. Exactly against the blue color is orange. So the orange is the color that I'm going to use, the most effective contrast color, striking color as it is. So if you're looking for any other colors like purple against yellow and red against green, and this is the way that how you find out which colors they really contrast to each other. So okay, now I'm going to roll the orange fondant and I'm going to place it on top, but this time what I'm going to do, because I want to get really nice and clean edges here to close this also that some imperfect areas here, I want to make this cut before I place it on top. I'm going to use those ones before I cut it. It will help me to create that inner edge. I will do this time a little bit more thicker, so just to create another level. Okay, this is nice and clean now. The bee around that, this size. So just approximate cut. Don't have to be really exact because we're going to cut again. Alright, a little bit of oil on top. And place this on. Don't do anything yet. Just make sure this is level. And this is the areas of the little holes. Okay. Next thing is this one. So most important for me at this stage is this corner here. I'm going to cut like this. Like that. And then the rest is not important, as I said. Like that. A little bit of oil. And make sure that this inner edge is perfectly sitting into it. Yes, see that? That is really nice and clean, this area. I want to achieve that one. Okay, next one is the L. That's the one. If I cut exactly like this, it will be just nice. Maybe this one a little bit longer. clean joint inside. Other parts we're going to cut later on. Okay, next one I have to roll again. So I don't have enough to roll the next one, L and Y. So what I do, I'm going to cut this B, I and L first, then gather the orange icing again together, then I'm going to start rolling again. So let's cut this final cut on the orange color. So in order to do this, I like to make a little bit of like a marking here. So that is the line here, and then that's the line here, and then here and here will be around that. Doesn't have to be 100%, but it's to be clean cut. Let's do that. Nice and deep cutting. That's good. So as you see that this blue area, I put another frame around with the same color. I wasn't very happy just pushing in and filling up with chocolate, so I put a blue frame around, and I'm going to fill up in the middle with chocolate. Okay, let's go with the eye. Again. This one and that one. So as you see, I'm not trying to make it exact parallel line, so just get like a little bit of sort of in parallel, not parallel lines. Just like the graffiti artist does. Okay, I think we have enough now orange icing. I'm gonna roll again. Next thing is this one. So as you see that this is not really going in, so I have to cut a little bit bigger. Why? Okay, let's go. That's good. Okay. I don't think we can cut so good on the edge when we have to place everything and then expect that is the exact right cut here. This is very easy way, especially for inner corners, to make it very nice and clean. So cut this one. This is already big enough. Nice and thin edge here. This has to go like this and like that. I tell you what, didn't like it. I like to add this edge again here and then cut a little bit inside here, just to not to change the connection there. That's it. Okay, so far so good. All the colors are here. I'm gonna get one more thing to be done. I like to put one more white frame around here. I think this will add quite a beauty edge to the cake. Just a few more steps left. First, I like to remove my protecting line, the cellophane sheet on the base. So let's do this one first. You have to use a blade to cut all those corners, but make sure that you're not cutting the velvet underneath. Alright, now starting from one corner, just drag your blade around and then cut exactly on the edge, and then just give a start and then try to remove that lining, just pulling out, and then but inner corners you have to still have another cut with the help of the blade. Okay. See, you can just remove like this, but when it's come to this kind of corners, you have to go in there and cut just two lines. Don't have to cut all the way in, and just get this one out like this and just tear it off. That's it. Nice and clean. Piece of cellophane here, I have to remove that one too. Alright, so I like to put a frame around this cake. So as you see that this fondant on the side is meeting with the base, but it's not really absolutely clean because the icing is, there's got some gaps in between. I like to put this cord around. So this is a bit like a loose at the end. I want to fix this problem first. Just get a little bit of sticky tape around and then just make a frame, just go around of it nice and tight, and then cut in the middle. That sticky tape will hold all the bristles in place. So we have a start from the back. I'll touch with a little bit of white chocolate just at the corner here. Here. Just a little touch, and place this one on that corner just like this, and then cold spray, or you wait till the chocolate is set. So next thing is I like to go inside here, but I don't think that cord will stay in this edge. So I'm going to go a little bit of touch of chocolate here in the inside part and go in there. And touch this corner, and I have another push. Go around. Don't need anything else there. Oops, come out. Maybe just in the middle. In the middle, just one little touch here. Just hold the things in place. That's it. Go around. There it is. Okay. Not everywhere, just little dots around to keep the cord in place. So that's quite a narrow gap. I think I'm going to just push it in. It will stay in there. Yeah, that's alright. Don't have to do anything. Maybe just here, a little bit. I think it's finishing very nicely. That the silver frame around, it's really making a good frame, making a really good line around. Okay, over here some to lock this up, and I think we don't need more than that, so I cut this one here, be more comfortable to work with. Then here is touching the chocolate, blocking this one. Doesn't matter, just go here, and that's the finishing part. So that's the point that I have to make it sticky tape. Okay, do it again. A little bit chopped here. A little bit there, and a little bit the end bit here. That's it. So what's missing here? The dark chocolate here. We fill this one up a little bit, nice and clean. Just to creating the dark corner. That's done. So, as I mentioned before, you have to know when to stop. But at this stage, I'm quite happy with that, but I don't feel like stopping. So I like to make one more line around this between dark and light blue, and which is not planned before. So, but you know, after all, this is a graffiti design. So graffiti design, as you have seen many times, is very crowded, lots of color in there. So I just allow myself to make one more step here, no problem. White royal icing. It's not really thin, so it's about this thick. So I like to place the tip of the nozzle here, my cone, and then just drag the line between this light and dark blue, but touch down and then give it, not like this, give a little good angle and just go like this, and then pressurize right amount and then go for it. Okay, now I like to go step by step, area by area. My three-dimensional, graffiti-inspired name cake is now finished as tutorial. If you're looking for something really special and really personalized, and something quick at the same time, I think this is a great idea. This is very personalized for Billy, but I like to make it, this one, even more personalized for him. So sometimes when you do this kind of things, you can also add a little more objects on it. For example, maybe somebody is interested on football or baseball. It doesn't really take much time to make one little sugar ball, have another object on the cake. It really makes a lot of sense. So Billy likes fishing. We always go together fishing, and I like to make him even more happier. I made a little objects for him. So let me add this one as a final touch for this cake. So I have a little fishing chair. So as you see here, it's just added small little sugar sticks and a little bit of fondant on top, and then just put together. Sorry I didn't show you this one, but I promise you that I'm gonna go this kind of things more often in the coming future. So I place this one here on top, and I also made little fish and fishing rod. So this is a skewer. It's very easy to do. A skewer, a little sugar round roll here as a fishing rail, and then after that I just joined a little string and I made a little sugar fish, as you see here. So show you that one here. It looks like gonna bite you. So I'm gonna add this one into that also. Just place it here nicely. You don't have to even glue it. Just place it here so you can take it up and then play with it. So that's it, and then just relax this string on the cake. That's it. And that's all for today, guys, for this tutorial. I hope you learned something from this today. Thank you for watching Yener's Way, and I will see you very soon with another tutorial.